If you're looking for somewhere to watch the game, check out the Classic Football Shirts HQ at the Box in Hackney. Screening every World Cup match with a pop-up shop, World Cup artwork and small shirt display from the 14th to the 24th of June. Tickets for guaranteed entry can be bought through Eventbrite. Just search Classic Football Shirts London.
This is Gareth Southgate and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello there and welcome to episode 28 of the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne. Wow, this is a strange feeling. There'll be many of us who've never experienced this feeling before or even remember it. A smile from ear to ear. Sunday morning hangovers shouldn't feel like this. Savour this feeling. We'll all have bad days at work or at home. Football's not always like this. England are not always like this. Enjoy it. Remember it. Embrace this feeling. From 32 teams, we are down to 4. Holders Germany have gone home. European champions Portugal have gone home. Former winners Spain, Brazil and Argentina have gone home. Italy and Holland never made it. Neymar's gone. Messi's gone. Ronaldo's gone home. It's only time now for football to come home. Those 4 semi-finalists are France, Belgium, Croatia and England. Yes, England! The World Cup will remain in Europe. Not since 1996 have we experienced a semi-final. Not since 1990 have we been in a World Cup semi-final. I was 12 then, from a family not overly keen on football, but I can still remember sitting on my beanbag, watching us go behind against Germany, then Gary Lineker equalising. Then, well, you don't need me to remind you. I was beginning to understand football then, but only as I grew up did I understand the true meaning of what effect that game in 1990 had on the national game and the nation as well. Now, I'm seeing it again. I've been fortunate to experience the World Cup going out for the Belgium game. I've felt the atmosphere at home too, trying to keep a one game at a time head on and not get carried away just yet. But the positive influence this England team have had on the nation cannot be underestimated. Who knows how and where it can go this time. One exceptional example of this was the recent hashtag on Twitter, #GarethSouthgateWould. The positivity towards one man, who incidentally many weren't keen on taking on the reins, has been exceptional. Seeing the footage of him again conducting the England fans who remained in the ground in Samara on Saturday was, to be honest, quite emotional. I'm sure we'll speak with CJ soon, who I'm sure can give us more of a feel to it. But Gareth Southgate, you are making a nation proud. Whatever happens, you return a hero. You're a man who exudes positivity, humbleness, and someone who looks smart without waistcoat and tie. The epitome of an English gentleman. We'll talk more about the game very soon with Ryan Power. But first, now, I didn't envisage that I'd end up doing predictions on this podcast, but like footballers and their superstitions, I kind of feel I have to now. So the quarterfinals have been and gone. Here's what I said, here's what happened. Uruguay against France. I got that one right, with France going through by 2-0. Brazil against Belgium. Got that one wrong. Full credit to Belgium, saw for a Brazil side that never really materialised into the side that we thought they could be, or that we know that they can be, or perhaps history says we think they should be. Sweden against England. Correct, I said we'd go through. Although I didn't think it would be in the manner that we did. Much easier than I actually thought it would be. Russia and Croatia. Another one correct. But fair play to the hosts. They did take Croatia all the way, didn't they? So the 2 semi-final lineups are as follows. France play Belgium on Tuesday in St. Petersburg. Then England, the big one. We play Croatia on Wednesday in Moscow in the Luzhniki Stadium, the stadium that will host the World Cup final. Will it be an advantage to us, the fact that we're going to be playing in that stadium? Dare I dream to predict? I think it could be the two previous winners facing each other on Sunday the 15th of July in that stadium, in the Luzhniki, in Moscow. France against England. But as I've said, one game at a time. We need to get past Croatia. I am keeping my fingers seriously crossed. Okay, so we last spoke to Ryan Power after that first game against Tunisia. That seems a long, long time ago now. Ryan's back. Hello there.
Evening, Russell.
Evening. How are we?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, enjoying the sunshine, obviously, and more to the point, this just seems to be the tournament which just gets better and better and better. It's the tournament which keeps on giving, isn't it?
Isn't it? I was just going to say the gift that keeps on giving, and it just goes hand in hand with this sunshine, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yes, exactly. Sunshine, a cold beer, football on every night. Well, what more could one ask for?
Can you believe that there's some people that just don't enjoy it?
Wow, unbelievable. Do you know what? Actually, it's funny you should say that, but actually, I really feel it's a bit. And obviously, it's partly because England are doing so much better. But I really felt that it's been really embraced, this tournament, by the country so much more than what I can recall in previous tournaments. I don't know if that's partly because we've obviously progressed further. But even before we got there, it just seems to have, maybe it's like with the uprising of social media, I don't know, but everyone seems to have got really involved, even, non-football people, even my mum is coming and commenting on games, even ones not involving England. It just seems that everyone's really, really getting into the spirit of things this time round.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I almost look at some people, as you say, social media, and there's people that I know aren't interested in football, and they're putting on their posts, hashtag it's coming home. And I almost want to say, but you're not. And then I think, no, go on, get on board. Just enjoy the ride.
Exactly. And let's hope that, long may it continue. Let's hope that same good spirit and good feelings continue long after long after it has come home.
Let's hope so. So take us back to yesterday. Where were you? Where did you watch it?
I watched it at home, actually. Yeah, I watched it at home. It was great, wasn't it? I mean, obviously it was a cagey start, wasn't it? The first 20 minutes or so, sort of both teams sort of feeling each other out a little bit. But after that, I mean, once we sort of stepped up a gear, we really never looked back. And considering it was a World Cup quarter final, we didn't really ever look in that much trouble, really. I mean, there were so many brilliant performances. I mean, well, where do you start? I guess start with number one, I suppose.
Why not?
Because I mean, for a goalkeeper as well, to go through a game and he didn't actually have to do that much apart from the three brilliant saves, really. So to be out of the game and not get as many touches as maybe he might have hoped, and to bring off those three saves when he did, was just, I mean, to think how close it was pre-tournament with would he be England's number one? And now it just seems like, he's going to be absolutely nailed on and will go on to probably win, God knows how many, 100 and however many caps, quite possibly, because you forget how young he is as well. Well, as so many of them are, of course. But Pickford was absolutely outstanding, as he has been at really important, crucial moments in many of the games. Let's not forget the last minute save before extra time, and in the previous one, which was outstanding, and of course a penalty save as well. He's done superbly well already. And then again, the defense. I mean, I think that, we'd spoken about it previously as well, how at times we did fear that our defence may be caught out here and there, possibly. But they're really looking, this back three are looking really solid as a unit. I mean, Harry Maguire has just absolutely come into his own in this tournament, isn't he? He must have, I don't know what the stats are. I haven't seen the culling up the stats, but he must have won about 450 headers or something in this tournament already, because just every ball at both ends seems to be land square on his forehead. And obviously after he went as a fan to the previous tournament, I think that he's obviously going to be someone that's much loved and adored by all of the fans, and good for him,
Yeah, that's a great story as well, isn't it? And I don't know if you actually saw the picture that I think his sister actually posted on Facebook or Twitter, where a group of his friends that went out for the Euros previously, they all got together with his sister there as well, and they had like a similar photograph with Harry Maguire in the middle.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. And I think fans love that, don't they? Because especially in today's society, as it were, where I think that fans feel so far away from players in terms of their lives are just so different to the average Joe on the street, if you like. And he has proven that actually maybe some of them aren't quite as different as you and I. And I mean, literally you and I, because he was there in with the fans, as you say, having a beer and so forth. So absolutely brilliant. Here's gone leaps, man. I would imagine maybe there's going to be a few scouts watching him. I think each game, I think there's another 5 or 10 million possibly going on a future price tag for him, I would have thought. So he's been brilliant. And I tell you the other thing as well, which is also fun. And it's funny because a lot of these players are ones that maybe weren't nailed on before the tournament. And the next one, which I also thought played really well. And again, shows maybe how fickle football fans really can be, is Jordan Henderson, because now all of a sudden he's the greatest midfielder we've ever seen. And about 3 weeks ago, people were basically claiming that if he got picked, then it would be a travesty and they'd never watch England play again, and all these sorts of nonsensical statements. And now it turns out he's playing rather. As an observation with him, I think he plays much better if Dyer isn't playing, because I think the two of them together, it reeks of defensiveness, doesn't it?
Just it almost takes us back to Gerard Lampard era. Can they play together?
Yes, that's a great comparison. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Actually, I do think I agree entirely, and I think that he has done brilliantly. And I think also as well, what's been interesting is a lot of the criticism that was leveled at him with him not being able to pass seemingly, or not being able to pass forward, has just been proven to, be inaccurate, I think. And again, maybe it's because he is in a slightly different role when the personnel around him are different, i.e., no Dyer, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was brilliant. I think that also as well, in the Sweden game, I think, again, even though he seems to have received again some criticism, I actually thought that Sterling played much better than in previous games. Bit of a shame that he couldn't maybe get a goal just to get his confidence back up. I think that you could see Ali when he scored again. I think that really has helped boost his confidence, and it would have been really nice if Sterling maybe could have just a 2-yard tap in. That's all it needs to lift the player, isn't it? But great that we don't have that reliance on Kane. We do have goals elsewhere in the team, don't we? Which I think which is definitely important. And actually, Kane, even though he didn't have a great deal of chances, he had that one sort of distance shot. But actually, again, he still held the ball up well. He still draws the fouls. He turns when with his back to goal. And actually, on that part, the other good thing I liked was saying is he was actually running at defenders, wasn't he? He wasn't just having his back to goal. He was facing goal and causing trouble. I think that really they've just exceeded all of my expectations so far, not just with how far we've got, but actually the way that we played well. I think some of the other teams must have watched that game and thought, actually, they're maybe a bit better than we all thought, because I don't think anyone really fancied us outside of England going into it. But now I think maybe, I'm not suggesting we'll come to it in due course. I'm sure. I'm not saying that necessarily we're going to go on and win, but I do think that we have put in a really, really good account for ourselves now. Whatever happens from here in, I don't think that anyone could say that the team have not done us proud. And I think all fans, all they want is for the team to look like they're actually trying, to look like they give a hoot, and actually to try and almost pay back some of, because as we all know, it's so expensive going to watch England play, and it really is a commitment. It's almost like a part-time job. And although you don't get paid, it's quite the opposite in that respect. But because of that, I think that you really just want to see a bit of value almost, Yeah. And I think that they've given that back in absolute spades already this tournament, really. So I really think whatever happens from now on, we've got to remember that. That's how I feel anyway.
No, I totally agree. I'm going back to that game yesterday. Mm-hmm. Sweden, they didn't really play like maybe I personally thought they could play. I thought they would have been a bit stronger, but at the same time, I kind of felt that we could have upped it another gear had we needed to. And I think that bodes well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would completely agree. I also think that we've got extra still in a couple of extra gears that maybe we could have gone through if we absolutely had to. And it's funny as well, because you 2-0, part of you sort of gets a bit carried away. You think, go on, push on. Let's go on for 3. Let's really make a statement, which obviously isn't the sensible thing to do and probably isn't the best thing to do tactically. But I think that, again, I think that we show more calm than we often have in the past. We seem to be incredibly well disciplined. They don't seem to rise too much, most of them, even when provoked. Obviously, even more so in the Colombia game than the Sweden game, but still. And I guess a lot of that has got to come from the manager, hasn't it? That must be where it's, because he obviously is very. I mean, he just again is. I think has just his stock, as it were, has just gone through the roof. I think he again also must have just proven most of his doubters wrong. Again, whatever happens from here in.
Yeah. Oh, there can't be many that still doubt him, surely.
You'd hope not, wouldn't you? I mean, you do see, you see it's difficult, isn't it? You have to take a lot of the nonsense you see on social media with maybe even more than a pinch of salt, a shovel of salt. Yeah. But as you say, I don't think that any sort of true fans, as it were, I think would all, are well on his side now, which is great because let's be honest, a very, very large number weren't when he was appointed, or even maybe a couple of months ago.
Yes, yeah, you're right. So let's move on to Wednesday.
Yes,
Croatia should. So Gareth Southgate has kept that team, the same that played against Sweden and Colombia. I think it may even have been the first game against Tunisia.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
should we stick with it?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think that you should change a winning formation, as it were, or a winning lineup. I don't see why, if they are all fit, which it looks like the majority of them are, then why would if it's not broken, why fix it, as they say,
That's the saying. Yes.
I think that, which again I think is good, because again in previous tournaments, particularly under Hodgson, I wasn't convinced he ever knew what his best team was or what his strongest 11 was. And I think Southgate now has proven I think he's sort of hung his hat now on that 11 to say that's my best team. But that said, and it's funny again, because we haven't really needed too much, but we do still have some good options that bring us different qualities from the bench, which is great, keeping everyone on their toes in that respect. Again, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, well, I think you should start Rashford. I don't agree with that sentiment. I think he's much better as an impact player coming off the bench. I think the only other options that he might look at might be if he wanted to shore up the midfield in some way. But I think that everyone really, by and large, has performed pretty well. So I would definitely keep it the same, and I fully expect him to keep it the same as well, actually.
Yeah, no, I fully agree as well. Croatia, though, to me, they started off really strong.
Yeah.
And now they've dropped. Or they feel like they've dropped a little bit.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, God, they couldn't really have started too much better, really, could they? I mean, they smashed through their group in a let's be honest, a fairly unexpected manner, really, particularly in terms of the drubbing that they dished out to Argentina,
didn't they?
But let's also be honest, that was at the point when we all thought, oh, Argentina are a brilliant team. And actually, they proved in subsequent games that maybe they're not quite the team that we all thought anyway. So, are we hanging too much on that result? And as you say, they seem to be getting less, not as good as the tournament has gone on, maybe, or less convincing, let's say, as the tournament has gone on. And I think what really we must also not forget is that their last two games, they've both been won on spot kicks.
Yeah. But
that also means they've had extra time twice. And that has got to tell on the players at some point, because it seems funny, doesn't it, seeing Russia in the sun? But clearly, there's there's temperatures there, and there's 120-minute games, two of those games in a week. That's going to take its toll, even if you are a professional athlete. So I think that's going to play in our favour, possibly as well. I don't know. It's they are, what are they, 20 or so, somewhere around there in the world rankings. So, in theory it's funny as well, because obviously we've drawn them in the Nations League. Course, so we're going to see a bit more of them after the tournament. So that's from an interesting perspective. I don't see any reason why we can't beat them, really. I don't see why not. It's not, they're not one of the giant teams, as it were. And I just think that the team are just going to be so up for it. Not that they're not necessarily, but I think that our players will be. I think he's going to really have them fired up. They seem to have a brilliant unity about the team. They really seem to want to play for each other, sharing each other's success. You can see when they score, everyone's in there. And it's, again, maybe that sort of unity that maybe has been lacking in previous squads. This lot, they really seem to actually want to win for each other and, for the country and the fans and stuff as well, which, again, I think previous squads maybe didn't care so much for. Yeah, so why not? I can't see why we don't have a great chance to get through, really. And if we don't, I still think that we've done brilliantly. I don't think anything should be taken away, whatever happens in that game. Even if we get spanked, I think we would still have to say we all would have settled for a semi-final spanking at the start. That's wrong, isn't it? But, yes. I think we'd have all settled for that at the start. But by the same token, I think this is as good a chance as we're ever going to get, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah. Dare we glance our eyes over to St. Petersburg and have a look at France and Belgium and think, which one do we want? Should we be thinking like that?
Good question. I mean, I think that they're both decent sides. Obviously, we have played Belgium, but let's be honest, it was really a bit of a reserve team game, wasn't it? Yeah. So I don't think we should draw anything out of that, which I don't believe any of the players will. And probably the Belgian players won't either, actually. They've both looked pretty decent. Belgium particularly, when the going gets tough, they actually do. If their key players are firing, then obviously they are very dangerous. But then I think you've got to look at it and say, if we get to the final, it is one game of football. It is one 90-minute game of football. Anything can happen. And you'd have to say that there is enough quality in our team to beat anyone on their day. If we play to our full potential, and maybe if they don't play to quite their full potential, then you've got to say we've got a hope, haven't you? Yes. So why can't it happen this year? I'm not saying I think it will. I'm just saying, why can't it? And I can't see why we shouldn't at least take a positive mental attitude and expectation into however many more. Well, I suppose we've got 2 games either way, haven't we?
We have. We can dare to dream, can't we? And
I think so. Definitely. I am. Are you?
Yes, it was the last thing I thought about before I went to bed last night. It was the first thing I thought about when I woke up.
Let's be honest, the Sweden game, they didn't really trouble us, as I said earlier. They didn't make us work as hard as you would expect to be worked in a quarterfinal of the World Cup. And therefore, as I say, you have to believe. Absolutely. I think belief is a lot of it. And I think they believe, and I think Gareth Southgate certainly believes. And I think a lot of that is then gonna, come down from him into the players. And the best of British luck to them, Well, English luck, I suppose.
English luck.
I doubt the rest of the British Isles are wishing us too much luck, but it's that makes it all the sweeter, I suppose.
That's right. What else has taken your fancy throughout the whole World Cup since we last spoke?
I tell you what, I've enjoyed a lot of it. I mean, I think so much. I think you've really got to take your hat off to Russia, haven't you? Yeah. I think that as a team, they have. I mean, it's funny, really, because there was so much ill press about them before the tournament from their own fans, who were all claiming the team was absolutely useless and that they were going to do nothing. And I think they have, again, also exceeded all expectations. I think it's wonderful that by all reports that I've heard, it has been an excellently organised World Cup, on and off the pitch, shall we say. Incredibly welcoming. I mean, you would know better than I, of course, because you've experienced it firsthand. So I think that is also that makes a lot of it, actually. So I think that has also been brilliant. I do wish now I had maybe tried a little bit harder to get over there myself, even without a ticket. Not least because it seems you can get them from FIFA. So that was a a personal disappointment. But that said, I think it's been very well done, Russia, I must say. I think it's been obvious that Mr. Putin has maybe been saying to anyone and everyone there, the world is watching us, so let's make sure that we really, really make this a spectacle to remember, shall we say. And I think both on and off the pitch, his comrades have delivered. I think so. I think it's been brilliant. It's also been a real. It's been a World Cup full of shocks. Let's a lot of the big teams have obviously gone out way earlier than anticipated. Quite funny to have the last 6 teams all being European. That was interesting, but nice. And hey, if it's a World Cup of sharks, why not have another shark and have us lifting the trophy? Because I tell you what, I'm sure you saw it on social media the same as I did this week, with the badge with the 2 stars. Did you see that?
I've not seen that. I need to
where someone's done a little mock-up of the 3 lions, but with 2 stars. Oh, it looks lovely, Russ. It does. It really does look nice. So I think that becoming a reality would be a wonderful final twist for the tournament. And it also looks, irrespective of whether or not that happens, that we might get a Golden Boot winner as well, which is also a bit unexpected at the start of the tournament, I think. Unless, I guess, only Lukaku, if he goes and scores 4 or something in their semi-final, then I guess in theory he could catch up, couldn't he? But him aside, though, I think that that's hopefully nailed on, and that would be amazing for him if he could. Well, we're getting a bit silly now, aren't we? Could he win the Golden Boot and lift it as well as the captain? Why not? Heck, why not? I don't know. I'm gonna remain outwardly positive about it. I tell you, actually, what also has been a real highlight for me has been how all of a sudden we've gone from possibly the worst set piece team possibly on the planet to now, I don't know about you, but now every time we get a corner, I fully expect us to score a goal because Trippier's delivery is absolutely outrageous. You watch the Premier League and half the time, and it absolutely frustrates the life out of me. They don't even beat the bloody first man. They can't even get it into the 6. And it is so frustrating because you're like, that can't be that difficult a skill to practice. Just take 50 corners at the end of every training session and you will, that will click for you. But he seems to get it pretty much on the penalty spot, doesn't he? With alarming precision. And with the little funky lineup they've got of between 4 and up to 6, actually, I saw at one corner. Absolutely brilliant. And even if they think they know what we're going to do, we're so good in the air that it's difficult to defend against, as has proven. I mean, I'm not sure how many goals we've got from set piece, but I did hear one of the stats. We've already got one of the joint most ever, I think. So
I believe, I think it was the BBC stat, I think we've had
7?
Is it 11 goals in total, I think, and 8 have come from set pieces.
8 from brilliant. Yeah. And flashback to when Harry Kane was taking corners before.
Oh, flashback to that nightmare, yes.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I think that, it's a far cry from that. And, I think that it's brilliant. I think that, and in fact, actually, Trippier, again, is another player who maybe before the tournament wouldn't have been one of the first names on the team sheet, I think, for a lot of people. And now I think that without him, we would be a much weaker team, I think that obviously before, in a lot of the build-up, it was more Walker playing in that wing-back role. And he's obviously moved him over to fit Trippier. What an absolute master stroke that's proven to be, So... again, well done, Gareth, for that little bit of jiggery pokery.
Jiggery pokery, I love it. Is it coming home?
Yes, of course it is.
Of course it's coming home. Ryan, great to speak to you again.
Pleasure, Russell.
We will we'll speak again.
Yes, absolutely. I really hope that we can have a conversation, getting even more excited.
Let's hope so. Cheers for that. And we will let's speak again.
My pleasure. Yeah, enjoy.
If you're looking for somewhere to watch the game, check out the Classic Football Shirts HQ at The Box in Hackney, screening every World Cup match with a pop-up shop, World Cup artwork and a small shirt display from the 14th to the 24th of June. Tickets for guaranteed entry can be bought through Eventbrite. Just search Classic Football Shirts London. Right, we've spoken to Ryan. He's given us his perspective on the game. We've had a chat and seen it from sitting in front of the TV perspective. But let's go to Moscow. Let's go to CJ. Let's get it from actually within the ground perspective. CJ, you all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Russell. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. What is not to be good at the moment? Sunshine in England are in the semi-finals. Life's good, isn't it?
Oh, very good, mate. What's not to like?
Get back from Samara, all right?
Yeah. We were on a train all day yesterday. I've not been pessimistic at all, really, during this tournament. But we were just thinking, right, let's book the train. We left about 4. Well, it's about 5:30 yesterday morning, so we didn't go to bed yesterday on Saturday night after the game. We just thought, let's just go to the station, get on a train. And then we can get into Moscow for kind of Sunday night, just in case we did need to come home on Monday. But As soon as that full-time whistle went, well, probably just before, really, I had the flights up and ready to go for next Monday. So they were booked. Everyone else was celebrating. I was kind of jumping up about a bit, but pretty much everyone. I was stood there with my phone, kind of just trying to get the flights booked, but I was still jumping around and stuff.
This is to come home.
Yeah. So we've done that for next Monday. So because we've got third place playoff tickets, so no matter what happens, we're going to be here for then. So
where is the third and fourth place? Is that in St. Petersburg?
Yeah, St. Petersburg, which is obviously it's a bit that's good. I mean, I love Moscow, I adore it. I can't speak highly enough of it. However, I mean, if that means obviously we're playing in the Luziki in the semis, so from a personal and fan point of view, if we did lose on Wednesday night, we can at least say, well, do you know what? You know, we're going to the third place playoff. It means we've played in 7 different grounds, and we get to visit St. Petersburg. And it doesn't matter who you speak to, what town they're from, whatever. All the places we've been so far, the first thing they say to you is, "Have you been to St. Petersburg?" So it's got to be good, because every Russian is basically telling us to go there. They're saying, don't hang around in this great city. Go to that one. You know,
having been to St. Petersburg myself, I can fully agree with them. It's a lovely city.
Yeah. So there's positives. If we did go out against Croatia, which it's going to be a tough game. There's a positive.
Yeah. What was Samara like?
Samara was the centre's lovely. It's very nice. As you go further out, where the more residential areas, it seems a bit more ropey, so to speak. Right. Not dangerous at all. Just a bit rougher than what we've experienced at in other cities. We had a pretty nice place. It was where we were staying. Very Soviet. Properly Soviet, so it's more traditional. But yeah, we were more than happy with it. The Samara itself's got a beach.
Yeah, I saw the pictures along the River Volga, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's more like a lake, really, where it was. Right. It was so wide. I mean, you think of it, you look at the width of the Severn or the Thames or the Trent, and you think, yeah, that's big. But this is like probably a mile to 2 miles wide, I would say. You know, so, and I think it was a man-made beach. So, but yeah, no, I don't think there's a tide. So it's perfect, really.
When we last spoke, you said that the ground was a fair distance away from the city. Was that right?
Our apartment was like, you look at it on a map, it looks really close to the stadium, but it was like 40 minutes walk. The actual the cordon where Ubers and taxis and the shuttle buses could drop you off, I reckon it's probably half an hour walk, maybe 40 minutes walk. And the actual journey, it probably took, I think, about 25 to 30 minutes from the centre to get to that point in an Uber.
And they're going to use that ground again for anything? Is it set up for someone else?
I don't know. I do remember. I think that one has been set up for an actual football club. There is one, I think it might be Sochi, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is one out here that's like 200 kilometres from, 2,000 kilometres or something in that region from St. Petersburg. And it's actually being used by a team in St. Petersburg. They're moving there.
Do you know what? I think, one of the TV commentaries mentioned that. I can't remember which one it was, but yes, you are right. Yeah.
Even the ones that don't really have a team already, they're managing to find one. I don't support that at all, to be honest. I think you've got to think of the fans of the team. It's not that's like Wimbledon times 1,000. That is, but it's
So into the ground, what was the atmosphere like inside there? What were the Swedes and the English fans? What was it all like?
I was very pleasantly surprised at how many there was of us compared to them. This is the first time where we've outnumbered a team this tournament in terms of numbers. Yeah, we in the crowd. We had, I don't know, probably 4,000 or 5,000, I would say. You know, maybe a few more. But the Swedes, there was maybe 1,000, 2,000 of them, something like that.
Which is surprising, because I remember going to Kiev in 2012. I don't know if you went. And they had that little island in the centre of Kiev, and there were thousands of yellow shirts everywhere then.
There has been this tournament that they've taken over stadiums, you know, thousands upon thousands of them. But I think just because of where it is, I think maybe they looked at it and thought, you know what, we'll leave this one.
Knock this one on the head.
Distance to travel, yeah.
Yeah, no, fair play to the ones that did. And I spoke with Ryan about the game. It was not a strange game, but it to me it almost felt like a group game. Much better than them, and Sweden didn't really put the pressure on as I expected they would.
Wasn't a lot of pressure. It was how I was kind of expecting Sweden to be before the tournament. Really, that's how I was expecting. how they played in the group games, they were a bit better than I was expecting, really, in the groups. So yeah, but how they played the other day was probably how I expected them to play before the tournament. I thought they were pretty well organised. To be fair, I thought Colombia were a better side. There's no doubt about that. They were a better side. But yeah, I wasn't too worried at all, really, at any point during that game. We did what we needed to do, like we've done on countless occasions with this group of players and another group of players with different managers. We did it. We just basically did enough. If they would have scored, I think we probably would have gone and scored another, just to make sure it's enough. Just keep the 2-goal buffer.
Keep it safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we relaxed as soon as the 2 goals went in on the pitch, but I think they pretty much knew the job was done when that happened, and I think the Swedes did as well. I think the Swedes knew that was it. Really, that was their journey over.
And it's great that we've got we're not relying on Harry Kane. Harry Maguire, Dele Alli are getting goals as well.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Maguire, how can you not love the guy?
Great,
he was with us. He was one of us in
he still is one of us,
isn't he? He still is one of us. He's got his brother who plays for Chesterfield, and I mean, I don't know if you saw the press release from Chesterfield. That it's one of Martin Allen's brilliant press releases. He does it all himself. Like when he makes a sign and he says, "Oh yeah, that Harry Maguire's brother has been given leave for the weekend to go to Russia." Which is, it's fantastic. But like I said, that's just all part of the story, really. His family and his friends and everything. But I just can't not love the guy. He's so down to earth, and I think that's the case of so many of the team. The other one, Dele Alli. I mean, yeah, I'm so pleased he got a goal because he was starting to be criticised a little bit, and I think he deserves that goal. He definitely deserved the goal. He's the second youngest England goal scorer at World Cup after Michael Owen.
Correct.
So, you can't. You look at that and think if you criticise him, look how young he is. It doesn't matter what we do now in the next 2 games. It doesn't matter. Well, obviously it matters. It matters massively, but it doesn't matter when it comes to the future because we've got a bright future ahead of us. We really have with this team. There's so many. We've got so many different options. We've pretty much got this tournament has shown every position we've got an extra man. Yeah. And we've got a few sat at home that you can just look at and think, if they were a bit fitter, they'd be here. There's a few that are unlucky.
Let's look to the immediate future. Wednesday night against Croatia. How do you see that?
I said kind of in and around the group stage and before the group stage that I thought that the 3 we've got to worry about are Germany, France and Brazil. And then I thought the 4th one in the semis would be them. I thought you look at their midfield, that midfield is the best midfield probably in world football. They should really overrun anybody else's midfield. That hasn't necessarily happened every game so far. Russia had a proper go at them.
Didn't they?
Yeah, you've got to give it to them. But it's going to be a very, very, very tough game. I mean, if we win, if we had played Russia, I'd be saying the same thing. Russia aren't as good a side, but they've got the crowd behind them and so on. If we beat Croatia, we definitely deserve to win this tournament. Without doubt. It doesn't matter who we play with, it's France or Belgium. If we beat Croatia, we 100% deserve to win this.
If we're going to look at maybe having the upper hand in any sort of way, the fact that they've gone to extra time twice and penalties twice, they've had a 1 day less recovery time. It's got to be in our hands, hasn't it?
It has. That's all going to help. Definitely. Well, they were looking a bit leggy towards the end, and Russia gave them more of a game than Sweden gave it to us, and we've had an extra day. So, although with the euphoria of I think even we would have rather have stayed and watched the semi-final straight after the quarters. And I think some of the players might have just wanted to just get straight back into it. Their bodies might not allow them to.
No.
Men up there mentally, they were thinking, "Let's go." They're probably let's go. Let's have it now.
Yeah.
I think, I think that's definitely going to be a factor with regards to how much rest there's been, and also the length of the games.
So, ticket-wise, have you got your ticket yet, or is that a case of get it in the next few days?
Probably go and collect it today, maybe tomorrow. Yeah. So, it's been a really straightforward process so far. So, I'm not expecting this to be any different. A mate of mine, Dan, managed to get one on the train. He got
find it somewhere.
Yeah, it was just lying there. No, he managed to get it on the FIFA portal last night. So I think midnight last night was the deadline for the resale. So for anybody that had one, the touts that have been standing outside the stadiums and outside the ticketing centre, they had until like midnight to physically sell the ticket. So then they've handed it back and got their money back. So
he's grabbed it. Well done, Dan.
Yeah, well, it's a category 3 as well. So it's the cheapest possible ticket. And typically, this tournament, the category 3s have been the best. We've been right in the middle behind the goal. Some of the category 1s have been right at the back on the top of tier. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But that tends to be the way with FIFA and the UEFA tickets that they supply.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, have a good few days in Moscow. Anywhere that you haven't seen yet that you're going to see?
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, Moscow's so big, you could probably live here for a year and you wouldn't see all of it. But
CJ, enjoy the few relaxing days in Moscow. We'll look out for your flag then on Wednesday.
Yeah, no problem, Russ.
All right, take care.
You too. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. So here we are then. I'd like to welcome our friends from @Croatian News on Twitter. They have brought their fans comprehensive information throughout the World Cup via that Twitter handle. And I'd like to welcome them to the Three Lions podcast. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. And let's hope for a good match on Wednesday.
Let's hope so. Whereabouts in Croatia are you calling us from?
In Split, Croatia.
How was Split yesterday? How was that when you oversaw Russia?
Well, there are a lot of British people around here because there is an ultra music festival going on with, I would say, thousands of British, party goers and football fans as well. So they were supporting their team in the afternoon in the first match, and probably later watching a bit a Croatian team to see the opponent for Wednesday.
Oh, what a great way of sort of integrating the English and British and Croatian together with the potential of this game coming on. How have you felt your World Cup has gone so far? And did you ever think that the World Cup semi-finals was within your reach?
Well, yes, because Croatia did it 20 years ago in 1998 in France.
Yes.
We were third at the World Cup. So this year, we also have a strong team. We have players playing in the best European clubs. So basically, no one was that surprised that we have reached the semifinals. To be honest, the World Cup has shown that literally every team can beat the other one. So there were several surprises. But, knowing the strength of the Croatian team, it's not a surprise that they have entered the semi-final.
Your Group D games, you came up against Nigeria, Argentina and Iceland. You're one of the only, I think there's 3 teams, who won all their group games, and you are one of them. Especially seeing off Argentina as well. But then you've come to your knockout games and drawn both of them and had to go through the penalty shootout situation. How has that been for Croatians and you yourself? Do you think you can How do you think the England game will go?
I think that will be another open game. It means no surprise in that game. Both Croatia and England can win that match. But I expect another tough match because it will be a real battle, and no one wants to lose the chance to appear in the final. So it will be a tough match, and I hope Croatia can win, but no one can say that. I mean,
Of course.
you can't bet that easy. I know that there were in Croatia, there were people betting on England not to reach the World Cup final because there was a good betting option, and now many of them will be surprised with that one because there is a possibility that England really enters the final. So this is all, let's say, an open championship with a lot of good teams, with teams that are, let's say, similar level. And when you say Croatia won 3 games and then has 2 draws, it's also not a surprise because Denmark is strong too. They run a lot. They play tough. The same with Russia. You see that Russia was ready to play 120 minutes on a big level. So maybe Modric and Rakitic and other Croatian players have more of a football imagination. But seeing the other team playing that strong physically, it's not easy to beat them. Croatia had chances yesterday to probably beat them before the penalties, but it was realistic that the match ended up in penalties. Another quality of a team is to pass even when you don't play that well. So it means that you have a good goalkeeper. It means that you are calm when shooting the penalties. So it's all part of the game, and Croatia had it. So we won all the matches.
You mentioned your goalkeeper there, Subasic. What was going on just before extra time? When did he appear to pull his hamstring?
He felt a bit of an injury, and last night he talked to his former coach, whom I know personally, and he says nothing that serious. So he was ready to continue. So that means he will be playing against England as well.
I see.
But even I need to tell you, even if he would not play, the second goalkeeper, Kalinic, is very good goalkeeper, and there would not be that kind of a difference even if we have that. Let's say the second goalkeeper. He played against Iceland and was very, very good.
You've got great backup, and you've also got a couple of great players. We all know what Luka Modric is capable of, and Mandzukic as well. You really do have some superstars in that team, and some players that England do need to be aware of.
Just one example. There was Milan Badel at the bench yesterday. He didn't play. That he scored one of probably the most beautiful goals of this World Cup against Iceland. So
yes,
it means that Croatia has a potential even at the bench. The good thing about Croatia, it is a 4.2 million people country, so it's a tiny country, but with a lot of talents. And this World Cup will also give an opportunity to a lot of players probably to go to European clubs because now they everyone can see the strong potential of Croatian Football League, of the Croatian coaches and Croatian young players.
So it's all looking good for the future if you can continue, or even the campaign so far. And going forwards as well, England will meet Croatia again in the Nations League, won't they? So this is the start.
Yes, that's for sure. So Croatia might a bit change the team because there are youngsters coming, and the national team coach already announced that there might be new players for the new campaign because there are youngsters coming, and you see Rebic, Ante Rebic at this World Cup, he made his price up to 40 million now, and he was not actually even sure to go to the World Cup because there was a huge number of other players who could take his position. So it means that there is a lot of potential. And even now, Croatia could lose against England, but they did what they came for. They came to come to the end. So it means there are still, for sure, 2 more matches for Croatia. So Croatia will take part until the end of the World Cup.
Likewise, England will as well. Well, we shall wait and see what the result will be on Wednesday evening. And if it's quite possible, I would like to speak to you again ahead of those Nation League games in later on in the year, if you're up for that.
Yes.
So I'd just like to mention again, you are on Twitter at Croatian News. We'll put that on our very own Three Lions podcast Twitter feed. And do you have a Facebook or a website or anything?
No, we do only by Twitter by now.
Okay, only by Twitter. I will ensure that you get some exposure on our Twitter page as well. We thank you very much for joining us.
Keep in touch. Bye.
Will do. Bye. Now, I mentioned this before, there is the Be On The Ball campaign. You can hashtag that, hashtag Be On The Ball campaign. It's being run by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. If you are thinking of going out to Russia, they're encouraging you to travel safe. They've got lots of tips on their website, also on their social media feeds, facebook.com/FCO travel and twitter.com/FCO travel. Don't forget, if you do intend to see a game, you will require a fan ID, which will need to be applied for, as this acts as your multi-entry and exit visa to Russia. This and further information, take a look at www.gov.uk/foreign-travel-advice/Russia, or just head to hashtag Be On The Ball. You'll find all the information there. Now, following the message my sister sent me about the comparisons between 1966 and 2018, she sent me another. France against Uruguay. France has 6 letters, Uruguay has 7. Brazil had 6, Belgium has 7. Sweden 6, England 7. Russia 6, Croatia 7. Now, all those games were played on the 6th and 7th of July. 6 plus 7 is 13. It's Coming Home has 13 letters. It's too good to be true, isn't it? It's too good to be true. As always, a quick look at our England bloggers, englandfootball.org. Semis for Southgate's exciting England. England are World Cup semi-finalists for the first time since 1990. Harry Maguire and Dele Alli secured England's fate with the goals that saw off Sweden. Thank you to Ryan Powell for joining us again, and CJ Joyner too. You can follow him around Russia, where he has his excellent videos at CJ_Kovblaze. Those guys for Talking England. The guys at Croatian News, at Croatian News, for their Croatia perspective, and thank you for listening. And to Classic Shirts for their continued support of this podcast. You can find them at Classic Shirts on Twitter. Now, they've also got a pop-up shop in Shoreditch in London. You can follow them at CFSLDN for more info. Now, if you're so inclined, please leave a review at the provider of your choice. I would be most grateful. If you are on your way to Russia, safe travels. Don't forget, we're on Twitter at 3 Lions Podcast. You can search that as well on the Facebook for the group there. I'll be back with you after the Croatia game. Hopefully I've spent my life savings, raided my daughter's piggy bank and felt down every sofa cushion going, looking for any loose change that will see me to Moscow. It's coming home.
If you're looking for somewhere to watch the game, check out the Classic Football Shirts HQ at the Box in Hackney. Screening every World Cup match with a pop-up shop, World Cup artwork and small shirt display from the 14th to the 24th of June. Tickets for guaranteed entry can be bought through Eventbrite. Just search Classic Football Shirts London.